And it just said recording in progress. So I think we're good. All right. Hey, it is March 12th, 2026. Welcome to our team call. Thank you to everybody who was able to make this live. And hello, sending peace and love to anybody who is catching this on the recording. So, today we're going to be going over general compensation plan. My main emphasis and goal with this is to make sure that all y'all are as educated as you can be on why rank matters, how the compensation plan will evolve as you progress in rank. I also want you to understand, how you have to rank up and what that requires, and if there's questions with that, because a lot of times we'll be doing these calls or we'll be doing one-on-one calls, and people go like, "Hey, I really want to be director." I just don't know what that even means. So I want to make sure that we go through and clarify any of that. I also want to make sure that you are all seeing what comes with rank up. Anytime that you're ranking up, you're actually getting a bonus. So it's important that everybody understands that. I also want you to see, like, as you rank up, what comes with it. You're getting additional incentives. That's going to push your income forward. And I think that's important too, because a lot of times we'll start seeing people climbing in rank, and we get to senior director, and then we have somebody who loses their director status, which bumps us from senior director back down to director, and the income goes down. We're like, why didn't I make as much? Well, it makes sense because there are additional
Are you done with
incentives
the Grinch then?
that come with it. So I just want to make sure that all y'all are well educated on that, and feeling good with it. I think the way that this compensation plan is structured is beautiful in the sense that if you want to solely focus on personal sales, you're able to get compensated and get compensated fairly. As you scale, you make more money. More customers, more personal sales. More a higher percentage that's coming back to you. But I keep saying this. My apologies too. I'm battling a little bit of a cold here, but I keep saying this. Majority of y'all are neglecting half the compensation plan. Right now, we understand that maybe the personal sales side is what's maybe a little more comfortable, requires a little less of you having to put yourself out there. Certainly, a little bit less with managing personalities and goals and recruiting and calls. I totally get it. However, there is a pretty large component, half of the comp plan essentially, that can be made up and grown with team bonus and getting percentages of your level ones and level twos, especially in that director, senior director range. So you guys will kind of see that today. Feel free. I'm gonna make sure I open up the chat here too on my end. But certainly chime in if you guys have any questions. We want to make sure that this feels really good to you, and I also think it's probably something we do, semi regularly, every couple of months, just to re-engage and remind people of why this is important, because it's really easy. It just is, to get stagnant in the business and kind of feel good where we're at. But I think, I don't know, for me at least, I'm just like show me how to get there kind of guy. And I'm like, man, so wait, I can make this amount of money if I get to the, okay, got it. Okay. So hopefully this empowers you, like I said, but please, if you have questions as we kind of go through this, chime in the chat. We can certainly unmute people, all the above. Okay. So let me share my screen here. All right. Screen has been shared. I had all this up. All right. So you guys see this beautiful Shaklee compensation plan? I've looked through this very quickly. I've got other ones that I really want to reference even more so than this, but this document was just shared with you guys. It's in the Elevate page. And then obviously, anytime that we share to the Elevate page, we try and put it in the Elevate 2026 chat. So, not a bad idea to go in, save this somewhere, just so you can reference it. Same thing for any of y'all who are actively bringing new ambassadors into the business. Not a bad idea to have this saved somewhere where you can reference it,
Like
somewhere
Stephanie, just
where you
using
can
tortilla chips.
send it to them. Good. All right, so I'm not going to worry about this. Most of y'all know who Shaklee is. I sure hope so. When you enter the business, you are going to enter the business as an ambassador. Okay. And as we progress, you're going to be able to grow in your rank. So, the first thing that everybody needs to be on the same page with is anytime that you are bringing a new customer in, you are paid a 30 for 30 bonus. Okay. So that's 30% for 30 days. Say they place a couple of orders, they place one order, whatever that is, you're going to be paid that 30%. That 30% is going to be paid that following week. So that's very immediate. Sometimes we forget about that once the compensation that following month comes in, going, hey, wait a second, like I had four new customers last month. No, you've already been paid on that, and they're going to extract that from whatever is paid that following month. Okay. Super, super, super important there. As you progress on returning customers, okay, this is kind of a combination. And again, if I need to clarify anything, just stop me. So, as you progress throughout the month, you're going to have the combination of new customers and existing customers, right? As you bring on new and existing, you're going to climb in these sales tiers right here, right? So, we've got, say 1, 3, 5, 10, all these. These are what you guys can find in your dashboard. I don't spend a whole lot of energy on how many purchasing customers that we have as far as, you know, tracking what that might mean for a percentage to pay out. I'm mostly concerned about this little thing over here. And that's really what we're tracking throughout the month for you. Just where we're at as far as tiers are concerned. New customers at all times are always going to come in at that 30% for 30 days. Okay. When they reorder, and you take your reorders plus your existing, that's where these sales tiers start coming into play. Okay. So if you bring on, realistically, you bring on three customers or you get three customers throughout the month, you should be over 500 in sales. Should be pretty darn close if not. Certainly when we do spring cleaning events and we do, a big emphasis on cleaning supplies or whatever, and it's $50 bundles, it's going to be a little bit harder to hit those numbers. You're going to need 8 to 10. But realistically, when we're doing skincare, meology, you're doing any sort of, fitness, protein, all that kind of stuff. Usually it's 150 plus dollar orders. So three orders is going to get you to this 500 level here. And that's going to come back to you on returning that following month, that 15th of the month, is going to come back to you at that 10%. This is why we're heavy on recognizing sales tiers because the higher that sales tier grows, 15, 20, 30%, the more money that's coming back to you. You just think about it. I keep saying I'm a compound guy. You take this 5,000 just because it's super simple math. At 30%, you're getting a check for $1,500. Okay. $1,500 is real money to just about anybody. But let's go $1,500 compound times 12. We're talking about making just simply, no matter what level you are, you're making $18,000 a year. So if you are setting just some very simple baseline goals for yourself, I would at the very least try and get into that 5,000 a month range. Quantities to scale, understanding that it also takes time. A really good goal is even, let's say, that 3,000. If we're at least 3,000 in sales a month. You're going to be making $750 a month in commission, you know, $9,000 a year. Adds up quick. Okay. Um, while we're starting small and trying to build big, setting little benchmarks along the way to get yourself to some of these like mile markers is so helpful. But when I start thinking about when do people really want to start giving this, more full-time effort? When do people want to find the extra hours at night or on the weekends or while they're on vacation? It's when they're bringing in $20,000 a year to their family. I mean, you can pay your mortgage, you can pay your gas, you can pay your grocery, you can pay just about anything with $20,000. At least gets you on your way to a lot of things, right? So I think I really feel like that 5,000 mark is a good target for just about anybody, no matter whether you want to build a team or not. At least you're bringing in $20,000 a year to your family. That's real money. Okay. We're in agreement there, right? It'd be nice. I always see like these people that are like, we're taking this trip, we're doing that trip. I'm like, $20,000 just has to be like nothing. But I think it's real. I think it also gets people's attention really, really quick. Um, let's keep scrolling down here because this is where I think it gets really important to understand how this all works. So as you are developing and growing, you guys continue to see us go out. Congratulations, this director. Congratulations, this senior director. Um, as you advance throughout the Shaklee, stratosphere, there's going to be opportunities for you to rank advance. Okay, so when you first come in, you're an ambassador. So you're an ambassador one. You have no volume, you have no nothing. You are just signed up and eager to grow. As you get active volume, okay, active volume is just simply, essentially, you placing an order. You place your monthly order, okay? Once you place an order, we're going to reward you and we're going to make you an ambassador too, okay? That's all that means. We have 75 right here in active volume. Okay, so you're an ambassador too. So just by placing an order, you rank advance. It's incredible, exciting. Um, as you advance as far as bringing in customers or other working ambassadors, you start getting this personal team volume right here. Okay, in order to advance to senior ambassador, you need to have that 75 in active volume. You'll see that. I'm not gonna, repeat this every time. This goes the entire length of your rank up opportunities. You need that 75 in active volume, and then you need 500 in volume. That is going to be your own personal orders. It is going to be your customer orders, and it's going to be any team orders. So any like level ones, people that are directly below you placing orders with you. Okay. That all combines in this personal team volume, and we need to be at 500 in order to be a senior ambassador. Okay. And we're gonna just go through this really quick, and then the real stuff that I think's like important is kind of seeing how this all like shakes out and what it also looks like financially. So that's what we're kind of working towards here, just so everybody knows where we're going. Sorry. To get to director, director's going to be a little bit of a jump, okay, but it's not crazy. You're seeing a lot of ambassadors within our organization that are able to reach director on their own. They don't even have anybody working with them. That's not been an emphasis, or maybe it's something that they want to get to eventually. But this is something that you can do by yourself without a team. Okay, that should empower you right from the jump that this is something you can do without a team. If you bring on other ambassadors that are trying to sell, you're just going to make it a lot easier on yourself. Okay, so to advance to director, you need that active volume. Again, that's just you placing your order. You need 500 in customer volume. Okay, this is the first time that this is really coming into play here. The customer volume is essentially that you have 3 to 5 customers of your own, realistically. That's all it is. 3 to 5 customers that are at least placing probably somewhere in the $600 to $700 worth of orders range. That comfortably gets you over the 500. Then you need to have that personal team volume. And that probably equates to roughly, if you were to do it by yourself, you're probably somewhere in that 2,000 to 2,500 range, maybe in personal sales on your own. That's going to get you pretty darn close to director. Or you're going to have some people that are working under you. It doesn't take a lot. But if you can even get people that just want to sell a couple of things with you a month, that's going to make it much, much easier to get to director. Okay. So that initial baseline personal team volume, that's going to be at 2,000 in order for you to get to directors. That makes sense on the director side, like how we get there. I mean, realistically, with a team, I bet you're somewhere in the $3,000 worth of total sales because you're going to take a fraction of your team's volume and then you're going to take your volume and put it together. But like just from like a number standpoint, it's probably somewhere in that $3,000 range that you need to sell as a team. Got it? Um, as we jump to senior director, that just goes up a little bit. That's going up to that 2,500 in personal team volume. So same rules apply here. The only difference with senior director is you need to have one person underneath you that actually goes director as well. So there's a little bit of a jump there. Again, we do our math here. We're really probably going from like 2,500, 3,000 in team sales, and we're doubling that. That's just kind of probably the reality of it when it looks at it from like a big perspective with Shaklee. You're probably somewhere in the $5,000 in sales a month as a team, you and one other leader. Okay. Then this just continues to jump a little bit. And that's where it's going to go. The coordinator is going to have two, and it's going to require 3,000 in personal team volume. And then once we get into the senior coordinator, this is really where your team is growing. And now you're going to start getting compensation for your entire organization. And you'll see this how it translates to as far as bonuses and then as far as unlocking different levels and tiers as far as your compensation plan. Because what I really want you guys to see is hey, I want to get this senior ambassador thing knocked out right away. That's like I personally feel like director is kind of like lights are on in my business. I don't know if that makes sense or that translates, but I always kind of felt like even when we were, I can't even, what did we call ourselves at the B word? Coaches, but diamond. See, like I'm shifting out of there, but I felt like when people got to diamond, it was like lights are on, and I felt like a lot of times people would really celebrate the emeralds and the rubies and it was like okay we're working towards it sure but once we hit diamond lights are on and I really feel like that's kind of how this goes with director as well lights are on at director I'm starting to understand the comp plan then I need to start bringing people along with me and every tier that you hit you're going to start making additional earnings and you guys will see how some of these bonuses start coming into play and that's where your income is going to go up as well the big thing with coordinator, or once we move past coordinator, and it's not that we need two first generation legs, so that's two people that you've personally sponsored. When we go senior coordinator, now we're bringing in $10,000 worth of organizational volume. So that's your whole organization as a whole that you're bringing in. So anybody that's under you, anybody that they've brought on, that all counts towards organizational volume. And that's what we track every single day. So when you guys see these annoying posts from me and you're like, dude, I don't get it. Cool. We're at 30,000 OV. Don't get it. That is where we are as an entire organization. Everybody, all of you beautiful people, that's what we're doing together this month. We're at 30,000 in organizational volume. And that's where we're at. We need to get over 30,000 like ASAP. Then then once you transition to key coordinator, which is a long ways away for a lot of people right now, but it is definitely something to be working towards. And again, you'll see why here, just financially. But once we get to key coordinator, that's where this comp plan just shifts a little bit, and you need to you'll see this OV outside the strongest leg. So it's like, we need 50,000 organizational volume, so the team as a whole, and then we need 25,000 in volume outside of the strongest leg. The strongest leg is your fastest horse in the race, if that makes sense. So it's whichever organization is driving a tremendous amount of volume. The beauty of this comp plan, and it's different. It's different than body because if y'all remember, it was a binary system with a strong leg and a weak leg, where people made all of their money and became extremely lazy later is by building or inheriting strong leg volume. And what you wanted to do is you wanted to place on that inside leg and churn through that volume. Okay. That's how body people made all of their money, was just churning through this abundance of strong leg volume with horses on their weak leg. You can't do that here. It has to be a balanced organization. And there's no binary system here. So I don't want to make this complicated or confusing to you. But in the past, that's how people made their money. They really didn't have to work. They just needed to play strategically. Here, you have to work, you have to build, you have to develop, you have to lead, and you have to develop evenly. Otherwise, you start losing out on portions of your comp plan. Does that make a tiny bit of sense to y'all? I don't want to like focus too much time on the QOV. That's what it is, your qualified OV. But it is essentially just telling you you can't just find one person and ride them to make money. Okay, so we want to keep bringing in and building deep. And then the important thing to know with all this stuff is this isn't going to be something that you hit once and you're good. And now I'm just paid that at that rank till kingdom come. You have to continue to keep these in order to hold your rank. So our organization has gotten as high as this master coordinator, which is 100,000 in organizational volume and 50,000 in QOV. The awesome thing about all y'all is typically when we're in that qualifications for master, we knock out all of that stuff. But our organizational volume, this QOV, so organizational volume, we've gone as high as about 130. We're not at a 50% QOV. We're typically in that 75-80% because we have so many of y'all who run your own businesses like on your own and do an incredible job leading others with you. So in talking with Roger, that's the healthiest sign of an organization, that there's not this huge discrepancy where it's 100,000 and 25,000 in QOV. We're typically like 100,000 and 85,000 in QOV. So pretty cool. That's why they were interested in what we were doing as an organization early, which is pretty cool. Okay. So this is where I think it starts getting kind of important for y'all to notice this stuff. I want to make sure this graphic's kind of neat. It's kind of, maybe this might be a little easier to see. So if you bring on other ambassadors, you are immediately paid at a level one bonus. You're going to get 6% on any of their purchases, any of the customers that they sell to. So even again, like you sign up, you're an ambassador. Like that's it. You place your active order, right? Remember, we just kind of went over this. We place our active order. Now we're an ambassador too. Okay. So add an ambassador too. Now, if you have an ambassador that signs up under you and they sell anything, you're also getting 6%. Okay. As a senior ambassador, so let's go back. They should honestly be like side by side. So senior ambassador, now I've got 500 in team volume and I've got 75 in active volume. Now I'm getting 8%. So it's a real quick and easy way to jump up there, right? Like 6 to 8. All that we're doing is we're just increasing our volume. So a lot of y'all now, for the most part, are over that 500 PTV. Most of you who are hopping on this call, so you should be getting 8% if you have other people underneath you that are selling as well, right? So we're getting that 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 of our own personal. And then this is why I keep saying we're neglecting half the comp plan. You have to have other people that are selling with you. If they're selling with you, now you're getting 8% of that. And that's going to, make you a little bit more. It's not a lot, but again, it's we're making more. Now we go and we, you know, take this business a little more seriously, and we're going to get that 75 in active volume. We're going to get the 500 in customer volume. I'm selling to people on a regular basis. And now I've got 2,000 in personal and team. Personal and team. At that point, now you're jumping up. And now look at this. This is where this starts really opening up for people who want to make more money. Getting 10% as a level one bonus. So level one, these are people directly underneath you, the first people that signed up under you. Now you're getting 10% instead of 8%. Okay. We're getting a 2% on level two, all level two. So I've got, I signed up, then Jenny signed up under me, and then Jenny brought on Brittany. Now I'm getting 2% of Brittany's personal sales as well, right? If any of them go director, you get an additional 6%. And this, you guys can see how all of this goes, throughout the comp plan. This doesn't really change. And then it's important to notice these generation bonuses. And we'll try and get into that here in a second, a little bit in greater detail than from a chart. But you can see these generations are generation ones and twos all the way through senior coordinator. Then at executive coordinator, again, why do we keep trying to push towards growth? At executive coordinator, it opens up to generations 1 through 3. And then as we get here to senior executive coordinator, now it's 1 through 4, master coordinators 1 through 5. Okay. At the same point, once we hit key coordinator, these infinity bonuses start kicking in, which are really cool. You got 2%, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Infinity matching bonus kicks in at 10% as senior key coordinator, goes all the way to 25% as presidential master. I don't even know what this presidential master organizational bonus is at 1%. So the key here, the most important thing, because right now I don't need to convince you to become a key coordinator. I need to convince you to try and fight to get to director. And for anybody who's at director, I need to convince you to fight for senior director and coordinator. All this stuff within your comp plan starts opening up. Whereas right now we're here, a lot of us are in the senior ambassador, we're only getting the 8%. So as we push towards director, even that you're going to make 2% more, plus an additional 2%, plus an additional 6% for anybody who goes director, and you're getting a generation bonus for levels ones and twos. Okay, so super important just to understand that this all opens up. The more that this goes, the more that it opens up. Okay. Let's see here. What else do we got? So a lot of this is breaking down everything that we just went over. Let's move on to here. Okay. So if you guys haven't looked at this graphic, this is a good way for you to I honestly I'd probably recommend printing this out and just trying to maybe highlight where you are and where you want to be. Because this stuff is essentially what we just went over in one super simple graphic. Okay. These arrows are just saying that all of this stuff translates down. Okay. Um, this is where, like I said, the majority of us are right now, or is this kind of this ambassador to senior ambassador. This is where we want to get as many people as possible throughout the course of the year. And then as you get here, this is where we want to start setting our aspirations. Okay. The big thing to remember with this senior director, coordinator, and especially senior coordinator is that it is going to require some director legs. Okay, so we obviously are pushing in this organizational volume, especially organizational volume for senior coordinator at that 10,000. As we start pushing for 20,000, we have to start thinking, okay, I also need 3 director legs. So all the comp plan as you want to get into higher levels is just requiring us to help develop people and bring people along. Okay. Make sure you guys grab this. But part of this stuff comes with these incentive trips, as we keep talking about. I'm sorry, we're going to post a lot of pictures of us sipping margies in Cabo here soon. But that's a huge draw. This elite trip. I actually ran the report yesterday. I'm going to be posting it as soon as we get done with this call. We got people off to a good start this year towards going elite, but we want to make sure that people understand how to get there, and it's a component of the comp plan. The thing I want to point out on this graphic here are these rank up bonuses. Now, strategically, one of the greatest bits of advice that I ever got was from a gentleman named Doug Moss. Doug, you guys know Doug. Doug Moss with Body. Doug told us at one point when we were trying to go 15 star that if you have the names, you have to make the push. But we really believed that in order to make that push, we had to get buy-in from people. It can't just be something that we want. People have to want it with us. So what we have always done is we have always gone back and looked at these rank up opportunities or bonuses or if we can push and get this, like what's in it for everybody. And I would encourage you all to do the same thing, especially if you're in this, director, senior director, coordinator, and you're looking for this next bump. These bonuses at the bottom can be like just a really fun way. We obviously want the money. The money feels great, but I've always believed in taking those bonuses and reinvesting them back into the business. So that's always my advice, my encouragement. I know our family personally has always done that. They've never really impacted us or you've never seen us driving a new car after we had our whole team push for things, but hitting director. I see you, Colleen. I'll come to you in 1 second here. So hitting director is going to give you a global conference registration, so you get that for free, and then you get a one night hotel credit. So it's a little something, something. But that's probably going to be like a $450, $500 value. But there's not really anything to give back to a team with that per se. Senior directors at 1,000. Okay. The other thing that's super important with this, sorry, you got to hold it for 4 months, 4 consecutive months. Okay. So super important that you not only like celebrate people reaching it because it definitely is a milestone and it feels like a victory when people do it. But you also have to kind of have that mental fortitude that like, hey, we're kind of hunkering down here. We've got to hold this thing. So you've got $1,000 that gets paid out to you. It's paid out the following month right away. You hit that 4 month, that 15th comes. You'll see one check that's going to be your payout for the month and any sort of applicable team bonus. And then you're also going to get that rank up bonus that follows that 5th month. At coordinator, it's 2,000. At senior coordinator, it's 2,500. At executive coordinator, it's 4,000, 5,000, 7,500, 10,000, 20,000. This is where we have been trying like heck to hit for a long time now. The crazy thing is you can only qualify for a maximum of 3 bonuses at one time. And as our organizations were growing, we definitely checked the boxes on these as we went. Add comment. This sucks. But we did not. Oh, and it's saved. That's incredible. So we were able to get those, and we were obviously using those for the team retreats, that kind of fun stuff. But we never could hold 20,000 or hold the master coordinator after we had done the three. So we did, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then we haven't been able to hold this 20,000. So I mean, they are religious with tracking and making sure that it's all done correctly, but you have to hold for 4 consecutive months, and you can only qualify for 3 at a time. So there's some nice money to be made there, and my encouragement would be to rally. We always will start by saying, "Hey, like we really want to push for this goal. Just wanted to know, like, are you on board? Can we, count on you to really be pushing with us these next 4 months?" And that was always when we went for either 15 star or 10 star. And we've done some really fun things with it. But it was always in our head, like, if we can advance as an organization, people are going to advance in their businesses too. So little something to think about as you guys are looking at some of these. There's money to be had, and try and bring somebody along with you in the process. All right, Colleen, you're up.
You're lucky I have my perimenopause in check right now. Um, Question. So, in terms of like the rank up bonuses, and I feel like I should know this, but I don't remember it right now. Because we start over every year, so theoretically, every year you can say I went from like director right now to I don't know, master coordinator at the end of the year. And then I did the same thing again next year. Do you get all those same breakup bonuses every year? No.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a one time deal. And that is something I know we've given them feedback on that. I think it's unfortunate that you can't get them again. I do think that there's something unfortunate about it because that was incredibly motivating when we were holding 15 and 10. I mean, those were massive, massive checks, and you wanted to work, you wanted to hold. I think there's something maybe missing in the comp plan with it, but I will say that you might not be getting the the bonus, but I think as everybody is building and reaching certain organizational volumes, the consistency to which you're paid is higher than it was at body. So we're not like it was kind of like this at body, where it's kind of this here. And I'm always more of a this guy, but I do like some of these, like the big mountain tops are kind of fun to reach. But I would say certainly as people build and as organizations grow, those spikes, I think I would say use those spikes to incentivize people to work with you and push with you. Because again, and I want to get to this here in this little graphic here in a second, as we push, that's where we're ultimately making more money. And as we do it as an organization, and then maybe we do a retreat or a fun giveaway or something. As we reach these mile markers, I think people are just a little bit more invested because it's worth their time and money. I'm impacting my family. So this is another good graphic. This would be another thing that I would say. Um, maybe print out. Again, Amber shared this as well, but this is just a good tracker of what's going to be required in order to hit these rank ups, and then what comes with it. Okay, so this monthly OV increase, I certainly track it. It's a weird thing. I wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself with it. Um, I think their goal is just to, you're moving forward, trying to move forward. Because we certainly have seen, different markers as we've tried to hit it, and it's never necessarily held us back. But it is good to be mindful that you want organizations moving, not just doing the bare minimums. Okay. So again, all these are shared with you. Most important thing I wanted you guys to see today is this little graphic here. I think this is super important. So, does everybody understand how the Star Club bonuses work? I know I didn't necessarily hit on that, but that's three new customers and at least 500 in sales to those customers. Once you reach that, you get a $75 bonus. Okay, that's paid that following week. That's going to be, again, you guys see these annoying updates from me every day, but it's, hey, reminder, today's a payday. This is your 30% for 30 days and any applicable Star Club bonuses earned over the last week. So you reach the Star Club, you're paid that following paycheck. Okay. That's super important to know. So we've got this like little business owner side here that they're talking about the Star Club bonuses. Okay. Up at the top here, this is where you guys can kind of see why income, why rank really starts to matter for people. Okay. So getting started, people who are just kind of signing up, they're at that ambassador two, senior ambassador, associate, whatever they're called. On average, the average of the highest third is roughly in that, $1,600 a year. So we're not making a whole lot. Okay. Probably probably depending on what you're ordering. Let's see here. 50. Okay, you're pretty close. Just as an ambassador, if you're just selling a little bit, you're pretty close to paying for your product. If you order, $150 worth or, a month. A lot of y'all will order product that you wouldn't necessarily live without. So you're not the driver isn't to pay for product. It's I'm going to get products that I know and like and use and believe. But it's a good little metric. Okay, I can at least pay for a lot of this stuff. I can at least pay for about $150 worth of product by just being an ambassador, selling. Associate, I think is more of that. Maybe ambassador two. I'm starting to do a little bit more with the business. I mean, guys, that's $3,000 a year. So if we're doing 3,000 a year, that means that if I spend $250 a month and I just sell to a handful of people, my product's paid for. I get people on loyalty, product's paid for. As you get to this director, that's where it starts getting a little bit more interesting. So, the highest is in that 23, the average is in that 12,000. But I mean, in my world, I think that's still pretty darn impactful. I mean, that's $1,000 a month on average. If you're a director, you're making $1,000 a month. If you're high producing, I think that when it says average of highest one third, I would say that those people are going to be ones that are going to be selling a little bit more in personal sales. Your personal sales are higher. That's what's driving that number higher. It's almost, I mean, honestly, it's almost double. Okay. And then you start seeing that senior director component. And I really would say that the big change there is you're starting to see this difference in your lowest. Look at the lowest and the highest. Once it gets to senior director, things start kind of growing on the low side. So at senior director, the lowest is now making 7,000. And you look at coordinator, now we're at 10,000. Senior coordinator, 17,000. That's the lowest. They're doing the bare minimums, right? You look at your average, and the average really doubles from senior director to coordinator. Senior director, again, remember, guys, is just one other person, essentially working this business with you. So it's really not this big jump here in averages. Highest average, average, lowest average. They're pretty similar in that director, senior director. And so it's hard because we want to push towards director. And I think there's a worthy cause there, right? The average of an associate or let's say ambassador two, 1,400, 2,000 a year. This is a big jump to director. Then your next big jump is really at that coordinator, just realistically. Okay. But you also start really seeing these scale here. So we're building, senior director. We're at 24,000 on the highest, and we've got a lot of good, hardworking people in this organization. So I mean, you look at this range from 14,000 to 24,000. Your product is well paid for by that point, and then some. Coordinator, you're 24,000 to 42,000. Senior coordinator, 37 to 63. So I know we've had a lot of people that are saying, "Hey, I'd love to be making 40,000. I'd love to be making 80,000." Whatever that number is. This is your graphic, guys. Like this is where we're looking at. So say you want to be in this is how I would operate, right? If it's me. If I want to be, I know I'm a hard worker. I know I've got personal sales goals. I know I want to be making $80,000 a year. We go here and we go, okay, I need to be somewhere in this executive coordinator to senior executive coordinator role. Okay. Now we go back here. Where is that graphic? Uh, right here. Now we gotta, oh, where'd it go? Up here. We gotta reverse engineer, right? Mm, mm, mm. Okay. So let's toggle back and forth here. So if we're looking to make, why is that being so difficult? Go away. Okay. So if we're looking to make, somewhere in this 50, 60,000, heck, if we're looking to make 25,000, somewhere in that 25,000, we need to get to senior director or coordinator. Even at just like the basic. I need to get there. So now we go back here, and I know if I got to get there, I need to be at this range, this 2,000 to 2,500 in personal team volume with one person under me. Again, there's not a huge difference there. Just looking at the numbers, there's not a huge difference between director and senior director. So I need to be somewhere in this personal team volume at least 2,000 to 2,500 on a monthly basis. And if I do those things with good personal sales, where I'm depending on myself, the thing I love about personal sales is you control it. It doesn't require anybody else. It's you. So if I'm good at personal sales and I start bringing on a couple of people here and there, I'm going to make roughly $25,000 a year. Simple. It's a simple formula. Okay. It's not a simple process, but it is a simple formula. Okay. If I want to make more than that, man, I would have my husband's attention if I was bringing in $50,000 a year. Some people are wired like that. I need to get to this executive coordinator if it's the last thing I do. Okay, so if I got to get to executive coordinator and I'm going to make $50,000 a year for my family, I got to get 3,500 in personal team volume. I got to get 100,000 in organizational volume, and I got to find two people to run this thing with me. That's that's how this comp plan should motivate you. And again, if you're a beast with personal sales, or it's some even something you prioritize, or I know, we always like praise Katie for saying I'm not a salesperson. I've never been a salesperson. If you can get out of that mindset and just start sharing, like, look, I believe in these products, so I'm just passionate about sharing them. I do think huge opportunity. Anybody who wants to like see your personal sales grow, skincare, I think is just a rocket ship. You can just see the orders that people are getting when they start incorporating the skincare into all of it as well. Plus, it's awesome. I mean, our whole family uses it, so it's an easy thing to believe in. But you start seeing that people are prioritizing personal sales as well as bringing on this like neglected side of the comp plan that is some understanding organizational volume, starting to understand the qualified outside volume. You start looking at these numbers here, and average is where I would base what you're working towards. Your average right down the middle here. If I just do this, I'm going to be average. You guys are all above average. You know that. So we want to be looking here. So if I do the average and then I also prioritize personal sales, I maximize the comp plan. I talk about maximizing the comp plan all the time. If you wonder why I share all those graphics at month end, I would kill for you all to scrub them every time that they're posted and go, okay, I'm at 15%. Okay, I got to get to 20%. Okay, I'm at personal. Oh, okay. I really want to get to 1,000. Okay, like if we started really looking at those documents when they're created on a daily basis, especially at month end, and you could push into this higher. I'm doing the average to get to $50,000 a year, but because I'm also prioritizing personal sales here because Jake said I should, I'm making 80,000. I'm telling y'all, getting at least to that 30% tier is at least going to make you $1,500 a month. At least. And that's where for us, that 40% is like non-negotiable. Now we're going, okay, if I know I can get to 40%, can we get to 15,000? Like, and it seems crazy. 15,000. Well, now we did it. We did it last month. Amber was bound and determined to get to 15. Did it. So now I'll give her a breather and like let's just do it again. But eventually, once that starts becoming something that we know we can count on, I can get to 15. I know I can get to 15. You have to be willing to go, can I get to 20? Could I get to 20 if I really, and that's where you start becoming this average of highest. Okay? It really is. Like these are the averages. We know what the averages are. That's all what this graphic over here is showing you. That's all what this is. But as you start building and you start going, I want to be above average. I want to be highest. That's all personal sales. Really is personal sales. Trying to get that, I would say target, I got to get to at least 20%. Okay, that's step one. Once I get to 20%, I want to do it consistently for a few months. Okay, now I got to get to 25%. And ultimately, I would say if you really want to be maximized as comp plan, really push to try and get to at least 30%. And we've got, when we first started, this wasn't something that we were able to do on a monthly basis, but we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. We had a number of people that were coming through and going, "Hey, like I can see that Amber's able to do it, but it's so hard for us to believe that we can because Amber has a big." And then Brittany did it, and then Katie did it, and then Meredith did it, and then Susan did it, and then Cassie did it. So like we're starting to get in this really good groove of people being able to at least hit 30%. And we're just guys, again, I say this all the time. We're just getting started. Like we are a year in and we've had like dust is settled now. Now we're getting started. So that should just empower the heck out of you to be like, look, I'm whatever months in now, and like everything that Amber reaps is from over 10 years of doing this. 10 years. 10 years. We're 1 year for Minnie. And body became just like so difficult at the end that we were scratching and clawing trying to find new customers. And a lot of people checked out. So we're like again, getting that snowball moving, getting the momentum moving. Like y'all are in such a great spot right now, but we have to understand that all this stuff, all these things that we just went over as far as rank ups and bonuses and how we're going to be getting these level ones and twos, how we're going to be getting these infinity bonuses, all this stuff, it all is a compound effect of us showing up with consistency, and that's going to get us to those averages. And then when we go, okay, I'm able to generate some of these with consistency. Now I need to start pushing towards some of these higher tiers. As we start pushing to those higher tiers, your income's going to start going up. So I just think it is so important for you guys to really try and push at least towards that 20%, if not 30, and try and get there as soon as possible. You're also going to feel such a sense of accomplishment in doing that. I am gonna keep on Heidi because when she was sharing her goals, she was like, "I'm gonna try and hit 800," and I think you're almost to 800. So, and right when you said that, I was like, "Oh, let's at least get 1,000." And you're like, "I don't want," but no, now I know you've got like 19 days to go, so like there's no excuse for 1,000. I would challenge all of y'all to look at yourselves like that. Like just go, look, I've got a bare minimum non-negotiable, and that's a great goal. Once I hit it, there's no reason that I can't just push a little bit more. And if you can start pushing a little bit more every single month, you guys are going to start getting into that 30% tier. And I mean, how awesome would it be to order your products every single month? You don't have any crap from your husband. You don't hear a single word. Amber gets it from me. So I know and like we make money off of this stuff. And I'm going, do we really need this? How nice would it be to just order what you need to order? And then at that point, be like, look, on top of it, I still have 1,200 bucks, $1,300, whatever it is coming in. And hey, I just added two girls who are going to try and run this business a little bit. They don't even need to do a lot. They just need to do a little bit. That's where I think we're losing track of some of this stuff. It doesn't require us to have people that are building massive businesses for them to make an impact. It doesn't require them to build massive businesses to pay for their product. Maybe that's all their goal is. But I will say unlocking that and adding that neglected part of the comp plan where you are bringing in some people and they are doing something is only going to make you more money. And as you build your own personal sales, that's why they go hand in hand. That's where you're going to become above average, right? So those averages, Amber shared all this stuff. Look at those averages and be like, okay, that's where I want to be. And just know that the highest ones of those, that's all personal sales. It just is. It's just that they're hitting that 30, 35, 40% tier and they're just getting more money. That's how it works out. Okay. And yeah, I'm just, when I was sharing my screen, I could not see any comments. So I'm so sorry if I missed anything. Okay. Any questions on stuff we kind of went over? Is this helpful to see some of this stuff? Okay. Um, Amber shared all those things that we went over in the page. So you guys can go and you can find it, you can look over it. If you have any questions, reach out. It's better to understand this stuff. It really is. We've had a number, like I said, people that'll go, I really want to be director. I can't wait to be director. And then we're like, okay, how close are you? Like, I don't know how to become director. I'm really excited about it. So like we want to understand what that means. And but I think maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a missing component for people is why. Why? And you can see just in its infancy why if I'm an ambassador, if I'm at ambassador two, I'm not making that much money. You just aren't. It's 2000. I'm probably paying for product. But when I make that commitment to go director, senior director, all my products paid for. I'm somewhere between 10 to $14,000 a year. That's a big jump from two. Two to 10 to 14 is a big jump, right? So that's the reason that that stuff starts mattering. And I think maybe if we as leaders, I'm always looking at myself critically. If Amber and I are better at explaining this stuff, this why, and maybe we're able to help people go, okay, I don't know if I don't want to stay ambassador two very long. I want to use that to kind of pay for my product and start building my business, but I want to get to director, senior director as quickly as I can. Yeah, Heidi, I love it. I think you're capable of it. I always feel, yeah, Kate, that's why we love Katie too, or March. But that's that's what it is, guys. Make it a goal of yours to get that out of the way sooner, and it can take time. It can take time. Totally get it. But I just am such a believer that you're further along, you're always further along pushing towards something than not pushing at all. And we just um, need to be real with ourselves on those months. Heidi, I hope it is a goal of yours, March or April. Push, for sure, push. And then mentally going, if I don't do it in March, oh well. But I'm going to be a heck of a lot closer to it than if I didn't at all. And I think we also need to maybe next call, review loyalty and why loyalty. Again, we just understanding these whys, because a huge component of your business certainly is going to be new customer acquisition. But as you guys have seen over the last month, I've also started recognizing people who are building customer bases. And there's a reason for it. And that's just because that loyalty side of people ordering on a regular basis is going to make hitting these director, senior director, all these goals so much easier. But if our customers don't understand why, and obviously it's a little bit complicated, everybody's always a little confused with our loyalty program. But if all y'all understand why and you can articulate that to your customers and you can articulate that to your team, that's probably a very big missing component, honestly. Y'all probably know, hopefully y'all know, but I would assume like ambassadors, ambassador twos, early people in this have no idea why loyalty is so important. And if you could get those loyalty from those, again, this business, I've always said, sorry, I'm rambling, but I've always believed that this business is always built like a couple tiers below you. So the more that you're aware of what's going on with your level one, and more importantly, even your level two, and then so on and so forth, or same thing with your customers. Your level one brings on a customer. What happens to that customer? The business is built one tier. Does that make sense? One tier below. If we're thinking about that, could it explain why you got some fluctuation in your paychecks too? Because the people that are underneath you aren't doing as good of a job, as solid of a job of nurturing their customers and building their customers and appreciating their customers, that we might not be seeing as many reorders. So it's a good thing to kind of monitor there as well. And that's why I'm starting to track customer count. Being honest, I'm just curious, like, are we seeing similar numbers on a monthly basis, or are we like, doing this? And that the more that we do this, the harder it is to maintain momentum. The more that we're here and you're just kind of seeing this thing like a rocket ship, the more, motivated you are, the more motivated your team is to, keep showing it up. So, all right. Well, Anybody, any questions, anything comp plan related, anything? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm trying to have a little more obviously what's the word? Uh, Yeah, we can figure. I don't know if we have a graphic. When points Byron day getting ready. I don't know if I have a graphic, but we can definitely try and give some direction on it. We've done a couple of those things where we're like, hey, this is why. Might be something we can work on. What I was going to say a second ago, I've just tried to have a little more, say in organizing these calls because I really want to make sure that these are helpful and that you guys have, you're getting something out of it. Because at the end of the day, our ability to regurgitate all this stuff to people is going to be what helps others build businesses. So I think loyalty is another huge component. It just gets people reordering. So let's plan on maybe doing an overview of loyalty next week, maybe amongst other things, but just making sure you guys understand and feel good with explaining why loyalty. Okay. All right, y'all. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. Had a great weekend. And I appreciate you guys finding time and prioritizing being on today. I'll see you later.